Hey everyone, do you ever feel like you just can't handle the same level of noise, change, or stimulation as others? Like you feel exhausted just by thinking of attending a full day, jam packed hangout with your friends? You're not alone. Something I haven't talked much about here in these videos yet is of highly sensitive persons, HSPs. I myself identify as an HSP and feel quite passionate about this topic. I also have other HSPs in my clinical counseling private practice. So for this video, I will do a brief overview of what HSP means and how to identify if you may be one. HSPs process experiences more deeply and need more downtime to recharge. It's not a flaw, it's simply a different way of experiencing the world. Research suggests that 15 to 35% of people are HSPs. It's even found in over 100 other species. HSPs have a unique genetic makeup that affects how their brains process information. The acronym DOES, DOES, explains the traits of HSPs well. So first let's understand D, depth of processing. Imagine a world where every sight, sound, and sensation is amplified, where the subtle nuances others miss become vibrant details in your experience. This is how the depth of processing trait impacts HSPs. HSPs don't perceive the world differently, their brains process it differently. The information is absorbed and analyzed more deeply, creating a richer, more layered experience. Think of it like this. While others might see a simple tree, an HSP sees the intricate patterns of its bark, the delicate veins in its leaves, and the way the light filters through its branches. This deep processing extends to thoughts and emotions as well. HSPs tend to reflect more deeply on their experiences, pondering the meaning and implications of events. Depth of processing allows HSPs to experience the world with incredible richness and complexity. They can appreciate beauty in its subtlest forms, connect deeply with others, and can find profound meaning in everyday moments. While this depth of processing can sometimes lead to overstimulation, it's also a source of incredible strength and insight. This deep processing can lead to feeling overwhelmed more easily in stimulating environments. Imagine being in a crowded room where every conversation, every laugh, every clinking glass bombards your senses. The light seems too bright, the music too loud, the air thick with 1,000 different smells. This is what overstimulation can feel like for a highly sensitive person. HSPs absorb and analyze more information from their environment than non HSPs. It's like if you were to put a non HSP and an HSP in the same environment, let's say a party. For example, in each conversation, the non HSP would be taking in 3 pieces of information, perhaps words, at a time. The HSP would take in 5 pieces of information at a time. Because the brain needs time and energy to take in, process, and organize information, it will naturally take more time and energy for the HSP to process that information. It's taking in more of it. They may end up with a more in-depth and nuanced perspective than the non-HSP, but it will take them longer and be more likely to overstimulate them if the environment or conversation has a lot going on. Overstimulation can lead to anxiety symptoms, irritability, and possibly withdrawing to somewhere less stimulating. It can also make it difficult to concentrate, make decisions, or, like in our example, hold a conversation. It can feel like your brain is trying to process a million things at once and you can't keep up. We all experience emotions, but for highly sensitive persons, the emotional landscape is even more vivid and intense. They feel everything deeply, both their own emotions and those of others. This means they also have a heightened ability for empathy. They can easily put themselves in another person's shoes, feeling their joy, their sorrow, their pain as if it were their own. This makes them incredibly compassionate and understanding with others. This deep emotional connection allows HSPs to form strong bonds with others. They're often the ones people turn to for support and understanding, offering a safe space to share their vulnerabilities. This emotional depth can be both a blessing and a challenge, though. It's important for HSPs to develop self-awareness and healthy coping mechanisms for managing these intense emotions. They need to create space for processing their feelings and prioritizing self-care. Extra intense empathy is a superpower. It allows HSPs to experience the world with incredible depth and connect with others on a profound level. HSPs also experience an increased sensitivity, like the name highly sensitive person implies, to different types of senses. Each HSP is uniquely their own person. For instance, I notice subtleties in emotions, verbal and nonverbal communications of others. So I may notice a slight shift in someone's mood by the way they are talking in a group, or the way their body is moving, like a subtle lift in their eyes or lips, to which others may not notice. For me, this sensitivity allows me to notice and track changes in emotions in the clients I work with. So ultimately, it's quite helpful. Every HSP has their own sensitivities, and they can be used to help them in life in some ways, as well as can be a challenge. And as mentioned before, with the empathy and heightened emotional nature of HSPs. So, for example, when I am socializing with others outside of work, noticing the subtle emotional and nonverbal shifts in others' communications can actually be tiring, as my brain will still process all this information deeply and therefore make me quite more aware of this information than perhaps a non HSP. And it'll make me really aware of that person's struggle or emotional need underlying their communication. This can then be quite difficult for me to not want to help them. This is another reason why boundaries are really important for HSPs to focus on developing. Recognizing when to listen and utilize the HSP's strengths and when to let themselves off the hook, save their empathy, their depth of processing, and other skills for other times. This can help avoid overstimulation and an eventual burnout for HSPs, which is very common. So that's the acronym DOES. That helps describe highly sensitive persons. Once again, DOES stands for depth of processing. They process things deeply, thereby typically more slowly and in more nuanced ways. Overstimulation. Because of their tendency to take in and process more information and to a deeper level, this can more easily lead to overstimulation, thereby requiring HSPs to seek out low stimulation environments. Empathy and emotional reactions. HSPs feel emotions strongly and thereby can empathize really well with others. Sensitivity to subtleties. HSPs notice lots in their environment. They can detect smaller changes than the typical non-HSP, and therefore may be more particular about what textures, smells, sounds, and colors they like, as well as can be really great at any task that needs a fine touch and attention to detail. If you want to learn more about HSPs, I recommend reading the book The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine Aron. She is the seminal researcher in this area, and I'll link the link below. As well as you can also check out her website, hsperson.com. So that's everything about HSPs in a brief format for today. If you think you may be an HSP or know someone who is and want to learn more, I encourage you to take a look at the resources linked below. Even just recognizing that you may be an HSP might be enough information to help you understand yourself better. And then you can give yourself permission to be who you are, rather than trying to adapt and fit in to a non-HSP way of living. I know that for myself, this was quite revolutionary and life-changing in my way of thinking and my way of seeing myself and others. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe and follow for more videos about HSP, introversion, and emotional intelligence information.